In life, we are often faced with choices about what we give, who we give it to, and what we hold sacred. But amidst all the sacrifices we are encouraged to make for others, there are certain things you should never, under any circumstance, sacrifice for anyone. Self-respect is one of the most profound and fundamental aspects of human existence. It is the recognition of one's intrinsic worth and the ability to honor that value in all situations. The foundation of self-respect lies in the understanding that you are deserving of kindness, dignity, and fairness not because of external achievements, but simply because of who you are as a person. It is a quiet but unshakable confidence in your own worth that does not depend on the approval of others or the validation of external sources. To respect oneself means to set boundaries, clear lines that define what is acceptable behavior and what is not. It is about understanding that your time, energy, and emotional capacity are finite, and thus should not be squandered on people or situations that are detrimental to your well-being. Self-respect asks that you protect yourself from manipulation, deceit, or any form of exploitation. It requires that you stand firm in your decisions, even when they may be uncomfortable or misunderstood by others. At its core, self-respect is rooted in honesty. It requires you to be truthful with yourself about your strengths, weaknesses, desires, and limitations. It is the practice of acknowledging your own feelings and needs without dismissing them for the sake of someone else's comfort. This doesn't mean being selfish, but rather ensuring that you do not abandon yourself in the name of being loved or liked by others. It involves recognizing that your own emotional and psychological well-being is just as important as anyone else's, and that you are not obligated to compromise your truth in order to fit into a mold that was never designed for you. Respect for oneself also includes the ability to forgive oneself. Self-respect isn't about being perfect or free from mistakes, rather, it's about acknowledging your imperfections and accepting them with grace. It means not allowing past mistakes or failures to define your worth, but instead using those experiences as stepping stones for growth and transformation. To respect yourself is to embrace the full spectrum of who you are, without judgment or self-condemnation. Furthermore, self-respect requires an inner strength to say no when necessary. Saying no is an act of self-preservation. It is a recognition that you cannot give from an empty cup. When you continually say yes to demands that drain you, whether they are from others or your own sense of duty, you compromise your well-being. In the long run, this leads to resentment, burnout, and a loss of identity. Learning to say no with grace is an important part of maintaining self-respect, as it honors your time, energy, and emotional space. A person with self-respect also knows when to walk away. There are situations, relationships, and environments that can erode your sense of worth. They may be toxic, draining, or simply not aligned with your values. To have the courage to remove yourself from these circumstances, even when they may be difficult or painful, is a testament to your respect for yourself. Walking away isn't a sign of weakness, it's a declaration that you will no longer tolerate what harms you or diminishes your sense of value. Another aspect of self-respect is taking care of your physical health. It's difficult to feel a sense of worth when you neglect the body that carries you through life. Taking care of your physical health means listening to your body's needs, whether it's getting enough rest, eating nourishing foods, or engaging in physical activity that supports your well-being. When you respect your body, you honor the vessel that allows you to live your life fully and with vitality. Neglecting your body is a direct reflection of neglecting your own worth. In relationships, self-respect is the bedrock of healthy interactions. You cannot give love or care to others if you do not first give it to yourself. To respect yourself in a relationship is to communicate openly, express your needs, and stand firm in your values without fear of judgment. It's understanding that no one has the right to mistreat you, belittle you, or demand more than you are capable of giving. Respecting yourself means knowing when a relationship is no longer serving your growth or happiness, and having the courage to let it go, even if it's painful. In a world that often encourages compromise for the sake of harmony or approval, self-respect can be a quiet, sometimes difficult stand against conformity. But it is this inner strength and conviction that fosters true fulfillment. When you respect yourself, you create an inner foundation that cannot be easily shaken by external pressures. You become the author of your own story, living it with integrity and authenticity. Through self-respect, you invite a deeper connection with yourself and with others, built not on the fear of rejection or the need to please, but on the mutual understanding that all individuals deserve to be treated with dignity and care. Self-respect is the very essence of self-love. It is the understanding that you are worthy of all the good that life has to offer, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. It is a quiet, unshakable belief in your own value, regardless of external validation. When you live with self-respect, you set the tone for how others will treat you, and more importantly, how you treat yourself. Respecting yourself is the foundation upon which every other aspect of a fulfilling life is built. Inner peace is the calm center of the human experience, a state of being where the external world's chaos and demands no longer dictate the rhythms of your life. It is the quiet, unshakable understanding that everything is unfolding as it should, even in the midst of turmoil. It is not the absence of challenges or the avoidance of hardship, but the ability to face those challenges with grace, clarity, and a steady heart. Achieving inner peace is a lifelong journey, not a destination, and it is a practice that requires dedication, self-awareness, and a deep understanding of your own nature. To experience true inner peace, one must first understand that peace does not come from external sources, but from within. External circumstances, the people around you, or the situations you find yourself in may trigger emotions, but they cannot be the ultimate cause of your inner peace. The peace you seek is not dependent on how others behave or how the world unfolds. It is an internal state that you cultivate regardless of the noise outside. This is a powerful realization, for it frees you from the need to control everything around you, which is often an impossible task. When you surrender to the fact that peace is a choice within yourself, you begin to understand the nature of true freedom. A key element of inner peace is the ability to accept things as they are, rather than fighting against reality. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation or giving up. It means embracing the present moment with all of its imperfections and uncertainties. It is an acknowledgement that life is not always going to unfold according to your desires or expectations, and yet you can still find peace in the flow of things. The more you resist reality, the more you invite stress and suffering into your life. But when you accept what is without judgment or resistance, you create space for peace to emerge. This acceptance allows you to deal with challenges in a way that is not emotionally charged, but measured and wise. Another cornerstone of inner peace is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in each moment, without distraction or judgment. It means paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings with awareness rather than simply reacting to them. By practicing mindfulness, you begin to see life as it is rather than how you think it should be. This shift in perspective creates a deep sense of peace because you stop fighting against the flow of life. You stop getting caught in the endless loop of past regrets or future anxieties, and instead you begin to live fully in the now. A major obstacle to inner peace is the constant chatter of the mind, the relentless thoughts that pull you in 1,000 directions, often leading to worry, doubt, and confusion. The mind, if left unchecked, can create a storm of turmoil. However, inner peace arises when you learn to quiet the mind, not by suppressing thoughts, but by observing them without attachment. Thoughts are transient, like clouds passing through the sky. They come and go, but you do not have to hold on to them or let them define you. Meditation and stillness are powerful practices that help you detach from the endless cycle of thought, creating space for clarity and peace to emerge. Over time, you begin to understand that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer, the quiet presence that watches them come and go. Forgiveness is also essential to achieving inner peace. Holding on to anger, resentment, or grudges is like carrying a heavy weight that only drags you down. The act of forgiveness is not for the benefit of those who have wronged you, it is for your own peace of mind. When you forgive, you free yourself from the emotional burden of the past. allowing your energy to flow freely in the present moment. Forgiveness is an act of compassion, not for others, but for yourself. It is an acknowledgement that you deserve to live without the weight of past hurts, and that true peace can only come when you release the grip of negative emotions. Self-compassion is another critical aspect of inner peace. Too often people are harsh on themselves, driven by guilt, shame, or self-criticism. The voice inside your head may constantly tell you that you're not good enough, or that you must always be striving for perfection. But inner peace can only arise when you treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a loved one. When you stop judging yourself so harshly, you create an environment where peace can thrive. You allow yourself to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to grow from them without the constant pressure of self-judgment. In addition, the practice of detachment plays an important role in achieving inner peace. Detachment does not mean indifference or a lack of care. It means learning to let go of the need to control outcomes and the desire to possess or cling to people, situations, or things. When you detach, you release your expectations, which are often the source of disappointment and frustration. You allow life to unfold naturally, trusting that it is moving in the direction it is meant to. This sense of detachment brings an immense sense of relief and peace, because it frees you from the emotional turbulence that comes with attachment. Inner peace is also deeply connected to the sense of gratitude. When you are grateful for the present moment, for what you have, and for the experiences that shape your life, peace begins to take root. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is abundant, and this shift in perspective creates a profound sense of peace within. By acknowledging the goodness in your life, no matter how small, you cultivate a deep appreciation for the journey you are on. Inner peace is not a destination to be reached, but a way of being. It is a continuous practice, a state of mind that you return to again and again, especially in times of difficulty. When you choose peace, you choose to live in alignment with the natural flow of life, free from the chaos of internal conflict and external demands. It is the gift you give to yourself, the foundation from which all other aspects of a fulfilling life emerge. Values and principles are the invisible threads that weave through the fabric of our lives, shaping our decisions, guiding our actions, and defining who we are. They are the deep-rooted beliefs that act as a compass, helping us navigate the complexities of life. While external circumstances may change, values and principles remain constant, providing us with a sense of direction and purpose. They are not merely abstract ideas, they are the foundation upon which we build our lives, making them essential for living authentically and with integrity. At the core of values and principles is the understanding that we all have inherent worth and dignity. Our values are a reflection of what we hold sacred, and they provide the framework for how we treat ourselves and others. These beliefs influence every aspect of our behavior, from the way we interact with people to how we handle challenges. They are deeply personal, shaped by our upbringing, culture, experiences, and inner reflections. However, it is important to note that values are not merely inherited, they evolve through conscious introspection, learning, and the choices we make along the way. Living in alignment with your values means that you act consistently with the beliefs that are most important to you. It is easy to be swayed by the opinions of others, the demands of society, or the pressures of modern life. Yet when we sacrifice our values in pursuit of external validation or fleeting success, we lose a part of ourselves. This dissonance between who we are and how we act leads to inner turmoil and dissatisfaction. In contrast, when we make choices that are in harmony with our core values, we experience a profound sense of fulfillment and peace. Principles are the guiding rules that help us uphold our values in practice. While values represent our ideals, principles are the actions we take to embody those ideals. For example, if one of your core values is honesty, then a principle that aligns with that value might be the commitment to always tell the truth, even when it is difficult. Principles are the concrete expressions of our values. They are the habits and behaviors that reflect the deeper beliefs we hold. Without principles, values remain abstract concepts, but it is through principles that we bring our values to life. Integrity is one of the most important principles that stems from strong values. Integrity is about being honest and consistent, not only in how we present ourselves to the world, but in how we live, when no one is watching. When we act with integrity, we align our thoughts, words, and actions with our values. Integrity creates trust, and trust is the foundation of all meaningful relationships, both with others and with ourselves. Without integrity, we may experience a disconnect between who we are and what we portray to the world, leading to feelings of guilt, shame, or insecurity. Another key aspect of values and principles is their role in decision-making. Every day we are faced with choices, some small, others monumental. In the absence of clear values, these choices can become overwhelming, as we lack a framework to guide us. But when we are grounded in our values, decision-making becomes a more straightforward process. We know what is important to us, and we can measure our options against those principles. When faced with a difficult decision, we can ask ourselves, does this choice honor my values? Does it align with the person I want to be in this way? Our values act as a moral compass, helping us navigate the complexities of life with confidence. Living according to our values also requires courage. There will be times when upholding our principles goes against the grain of societal norms or the expectations of others. It can be tempting to abandon our values in order to fit in, gain approval, or avoid conflict. However, compromising our values for external approval often leads to regret and inner conflict. True courage lies in standing firm in your beliefs, even when it is uncomfortable or unpopular. It is about having the strength to say no when something does not align with your values, and to take the road less traveled when necessary. The more we practice this courage, the more we build a life that is authentic and true to who we are. One of the greatest benefits of living in alignment with our values and principles is the sense of clarity it brings to our lives. When we are clear about what we stand for, our decisions become simpler, our priorities become clearer, and our actions become more intentional. We stop wasting energy on things that don't matter and focus on what truly brings us fulfillment. With this clarity comes a sense of peace, because we are no longer torn between competing interests or caught up in the pressure to please others. We are living for ourselves, not for the approval or expectations of the world around us. Values and principles also shape how we treat others. When we act in accordance with our beliefs, we are more likely to treat others with the same respect, kindness, and fairness that we expect for ourselves. Our interactions with people become a reflection of our values, whether it is through honesty, empathy, or compassion. The way we treat others has a ripple effect, influencing our relationships and the communities we are part of. By living according to our values, we inspire others to do the same, creating a more harmonious and respectful world. Values and principles are what give our lives meaning and direction. They provide the foundation for everything we do, from the smallest daily interactions to the most significant life choices. They help us live authentically and with integrity, guiding us through life's challenges and successes. When we honor our values, we are not just living in alignment with our deepest beliefs, we are creating a life that is rich with purpose, connection, and fulfillment. Time is the most precious resource we have, yet it is one that is often taken for granted. Every moment that passes is one we will never get back, yet it is so easy to fall into patterns of distraction, procrastination, or mindless activity. Time, in its purest sense, is neutral. It flows relentlessly, indifferent to our actions or desires. It is not the time itself that dictates how we live, but rather how we choose to use it. Understanding time, its limitations, and its potential is essential to living a life of purpose and fulfillment. From the moment we are born, time begins to shape our existence. As children, time seems endless, stretching before us like an open road with no end in sight. The future feels distant, almost imaginary, and the present is a realm where everything feels immediate and urgent. But as we grow older, the perception of time shifts. The years seem to pass more quickly, the days blur together, and we begin to realize that time is finite. It becomes clear that there are only so many days, hours, and moments to live out our dreams and aspirations. This awareness of time's brevity often stirs up feelings of urgency, a desire to make the most of what little time we have. Yet, without a conscious effort to direct it, time can slip away in a haze of distractions, obligations, and idle moments. One of the greatest challenges in managing time is the constant pull of external demands. From responsibilities to deadlines to the needs of others, the world around us often seems to dictate how we should spend our time. However, true fulfillment does not come from the mere act of staying busy or constantly meeting external expectations. It comes from the ability to choose how we spend our time in alignment with our values and desires. The act of choosing is where the power lies. When we make deliberate decisions about how we invest our time, we reclaim control over our lives. We no longer feel as though time is slipping through our fingers. Instead, we feel empowered, knowing that each moment is a choice. A critical aspect of time is its relationship to the present moment. So often we find ourselves trapped in the past or the future. We dwell on mistakes we have made, replaying conversations, decisions, or events over and over and over in our minds. We also spend an immense amount of time worrying about what might happen, imagining worst-case scenarios, or planning for things that may never come to pass. In both instances, we rob ourselves of the present. The present moment is the only time we truly have, yet it is often the most overlooked. To be fully present in the moment is to truly experience life, to savor the simple joys, and to engage with the world around us without the weight of the past or the future pressing down on us. When we practice being present, time slows down, and we begin to notice the small, meaningful moments that often go unnoticed in the rush of daily life. Another way to understand time is through its cyclical nature. Time moves in cycles, repeating patterns of days, seasons, years, and stages of life. These cycles are predictable, but they are also full of potential for growth and transformation. The passage of time is a reminder that nothing is permanent. Just as the seasons change, so too do we. Life is a continuous process of becoming, and each cycle brings new opportunities for learning, growth, and reinvention. Embracing this cyclical nature of time helps us to be patient with ourselves, knowing that even when things are difficult, they will eventually change. The passage of time allows us to heal from wounds, adapt to new circumstances, and gain wisdom from our experiences. However, while the cyclical nature of time offers us comfort and perspective, it also serves as a reminder of time's unyielding march forward. The inevitability of time passing brings with it a sense of urgency, a realization that we cannot wait forever to take action or pursue our passions. The future is never promised, and the time to act is always now. This sense of urgency does not need to be a source of anxiety or pressure. Instead, it can be a gentle nudge to remind us of what truly matters. It encourages us to prioritize the things that align with our deepest desires and values, to stop waiting for the right time and to begin now. Time moves forward whether we are ready or not, so the key is to make the most of the time we have in front of us without unnecessary delay. One of the most important relationships we can have with time is the ability to recognize when we need rest. In a world that often values productivity above all else, it can be easy to overlook the necessity of rest. However, time is not just for doing, it is also for being. We cannot run on empty forever. Our bodies, minds, and spirits require moments of stillness and rejuvenation to operate at their best. Rest is an integral part of the cycle of time. It allows us to recharge, reflect, and reset, so that we can approach the next phase of action with renewed energy and focus. When we neglect the need for rest, we burn out and squander the potential that time offers us. Recognizing the value of rest is not a sign of weakness, but rather a recognition of the natural ebb and flow of time. Time is a mirror of how we live. It reflects our priorities, our choices, and our values. If we are constantly rushing through life, overwhelmed by obligations and distractions, time feels fleeting and out of our control. But when we live intentionally, when we take time to connect with ourselves, to reflect, to savor, and to engage fully with the present, time becomes a gift. The more consciously we use our time, the more meaningful and fulfilling our lives become. Time, in the end, is not something to fear or regret. It is something to embrace, for in each moment lies the potential for transformation, growth, and connection. Mental health is the foundation upon which our entire well-being rests. It is the invisible force that influences our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, and it governs how we relate to ourselves, others, and the world around us. Just as we care for our physical health through exercise, nutrition, and rest, mental health requires attention, nurturing, and awareness. Without mental health, even the most seemingly successful or content life can feel hollow or unmanageable. Yet for many, mental health is often overlooked or misunderstood, leading to struggles that go unnoticed or are treated with shame. At its core, mental health is not just the absence of illness or distress. It is the ability to cope with the daily stresses of life, to maintain a sense of balance, even in difficult circumstances, and to experience a fulfilling, meaningful existence. Good mental health allows individuals to feel resilient in the face of adversity, to cultivate positive relationships, and to approach life with a sense of optimism and hope. It enables us to learn from our experiences, adapt to change, and make decisions that align with our values and aspirations. Mental health is a dynamic state, fluctuating in response to life's ups and downs. Yet it remains essential to our ability to live authentically and with purpose. A fundamental aspect of mental health is self-awareness. When we are aware of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, we are better able to recognize when something feels off. Mental health struggles often begin with small, subtle changes, shifts in mood, energy, or thought patterns that, if left unaddressed, can escalate into more significant issues. Self-awareness helps us detect these changes early, giving us the opportunity to take steps toward better mental health before things spiral out of control. This self-awareness also enables us to distinguish between temporary emotional fluctuations and more persistent patterns that may require professional attention. The more we understand our mental state, the more equipped we are to seek help, engage in healthy coping strategies, and ultimately take control of our well-being. Emotions play a central role in mental health, and learning to manage them is a critical skill. Life is full of emotional ups and downs, and while we cannot always control the events that trigger these emotions, we can control how we respond. Negative emotions like sadness, anger, fear, and frustration are natural and necessary parts of the human experience. However, when left unchecked, they can overwhelm us and cloud our judgment. Acknowledging emotions without judgment, allowing ourselves to feel and process them, is crucial for mental health. Suppressing emotions or pretending they do not exist often leads to greater emotional distress in the long term. Healthy emotional management involves expressing feelings in constructive ways, whether through conversation, creative outlets, or physical activity, and finding strategies to release pent-up tension or anxiety. Mental health is also deeply connected to the way we think. Our thoughts shape our perception of the world and ultimately our reality. When our thinking patterns are dominated by negativity, self-criticism, or irrational beliefs, it can distort our perception and contribute to mental health issues. Cognitive distortions, such as catastrophizing, overgeneralizing, or all or nothing thinking, can create unnecessary stress, anxiety, and feelings of hopelessness. By challenging these distorted thought patterns and replacing them with more realistic, balanced perspectives, we can reduce the impact of mental health struggles. Cognitive behavioral strategies, mindfulness practices, and therapy are all valuable tools for reconditioning our thought processes and fostering a more positive mental landscape. Another significant factor in mental health is the quality of our relationships. Humans are inherently social beings, and the connections we form with others play a crucial role in our emotional well-being. Positive, supportive relationships provide a sense of belonging, validation, and love, which are essential for mental health. Conversely, toxic relationships, isolation, and neglect can lead to feelings of loneliness, inadequacy, and anxiety. Building and maintaining healthy relationships requires communication, empathy, and respect, and it involves setting boundaries that honor both our needs and the needs of others. It is important to surround ourselves with people who uplift us, who make us feel seen and heard, and who encourage our growth and well-being. At the same time, it is necessary to be mindful of relationships that drain us or contribute to emotional distress, as these can undermine our mental health. Stress management is another crucial component of mental health. Stress is an inevitable part of life, but when it becomes chronic or overwhelming, it can take a serious toll on both our mental and physical health. Chronic stress can lead to anxiety, depression, burnout, and other mental health issues, making it difficult to function effectively in daily life. Finding healthy ways to cope with stress is essential. This might include practices like mindfulness, relaxation exercises, physical activity, or engaging in hobbies that bring joy and relaxation. By identifying the sources of stress in our lives and developing healthy coping mechanisms, we can prevent stress from becoming a debilitating force. Sleep, nutrition, and exercise are also fundamental to mental health. Our bodies and minds are intricately connected, and when we neglect our physical health, it impacts our mental well-being. Poor sleep can contribute to irritability, anxiety, and cognitive difficulties, while a poor diet can lead to fatigue and mood swings. Regular exercise has been shown to improve mood, reduce stress, and enhance cognitive function, contributing to overall mental health. By taking care of our physical health, we are better equipped to manage the mental and emotional challenges that come our way. Seeking professional help is an important step in maintaining mental health, especially when we feel overwhelmed or unable to manage our struggles on our own. Therapy, counseling, and other forms of professional support provide a safe space to explore difficult emotions, gain insight into our mental health, and develop coping strategies. There is no shame in asking for help. In fact, it is a courageous and necessary step toward healing. Mental health is not a destination, it is an ongoing process. It requires self-awareness, self-compassion, and a commitment to nurturing our emotional and mental well-being. By acknowledging the importance of mental health and actively working to maintain it, we can live lives that are balanced, fulfilling, and resilient in the face of life's challenges. Authenticity is often considered the cornerstone of a fulfilling life. Yet it remains a concept that many struggle to fully understand or embrace. It is not simply about being true to oneself in an outward sense, but about aligning one's inner values, beliefs, and actions in a way that reflects a deep, honest connection with the self. In its purest form, authenticity is the act of living in congruence with one's core essence, without pretending, hiding, or altering one's true nature to fit external expectations. It is a journey of self-discovery and acceptance, one that requires an unwavering commitment to personal truth, regardless of the pressures or judgments that might arise from the world around us. The first step toward authenticity is self-awareness. To be authentic, we must first know who we are, the depths of our desires, our fears, our strengths, and our weaknesses. This knowledge comes from a process of introspection, where we take the time to examine our thoughts, feelings, and actions. It requires us to question our beliefs and to challenge the narratives that have been ingrained in us by society, culture, or upbringing. Only when we understand ourselves can we begin to discern what truly matters to us, what drives us, and what brings us a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Without this clarity, it becomes easy to lose ourselves in the noise of external influences, losing sight of what is meaningful in pursuit of fleeting validation. Living authentically involves the courage to act in alignment with this self-awareness. It means expressing ourselves honestly, whether through our words, our work, or our relationships. It can often feel difficult or risky to show up as our true selves, particularly when the fear of rejection or judgment looms large. But authenticity is not about seeking approval or conforming to societal expectations. Rather, it is about creating a life that reflects our own values and desires, free from the need for validation. This requires vulnerability, the willingness to show up in the world without masks or pretenses. It is the willingness to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to acknowledge that we are works in progress. When we allow ourselves to be authentic, we give others permission to do the same. One of the most powerful aspects of authenticity is the freedom it brings. When we are not bound by the need to meet the expectations of others, or to live up to a constructed image of who we should be, we experience a profound sense of liberation. Authenticity enables us to make choices that are true to ourselves, rather than choices driven by fear or the desire to please others. It allows us to embrace our individuality, to pursue paths that are uniquely our own, and to let go of the constant striving for perfection or approval. In this space of freedom, we are no longer weighed down by the burden of comparison or self-doubt, and we are able to fully experience life with a sense of openness and possibility. However, living authentically does not mean that we disregard the feelings or needs of others. Authenticity is not about selfishness or inconsideration, rather. It is about finding a balance between honoring our own truth and being mindful of how our actions affect those around us. True authenticity is built on empathy and respect, as it requires us to be aware of the impact our words and actions have on others, while remaining true to our own values. This requires emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and manage our emotions, and to navigate interpersonal relationships with awareness and compassion. Authenticity also involves setting boundaries. To live authentically means to know where our limits are and to protect our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Boundaries are an essential aspect of self-care, as they allow us to prioritize what truly matters to us and to say no to what detracts from our well-being. When we fail to set boundaries, we often find ourselves overextended, drained, or resentful, which can lead us to compromise our own values in order to appease others. By setting clear and healthy boundaries, we protect our energy, ensure that we are staying true to ourselves, and create the space necessary for growth and fulfillment. The pursuit of authenticity also involves letting go of the fear of judgment. At its core, fear of judgment is the fear of not being accepted or loved for who we truly are. It is a fear that we are not enough as we are, that we must hide parts of ourselves to be worthy of connection. But when we live authentically, we step into a space where we are free to be ourselves, regardless of whether others approve. This does not mean we disregard the feelings of others or become dismissive of their perspectives, but it means that we do not allow their judgments to dictate how we show up in the world. In embracing our true selves, we attract people who resonate with us at a deeper level, who appreciate us for who we truly are rather than the image we project. Authenticity also requires resilience. As we navigate life, we will inevitably face challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt. The road to authenticity is not always smooth, and there will be times when the pressure to conform or compromise our values feels overwhelming. However, the more we commit to living authentically, the stronger we become in our sense of self. Authenticity demands that we confront our fears, embrace uncertainty, and remain steadfast in our truth, even in the face of adversity. This resilience builds inner strength and cultivates a deeper sense of self-assurance, allowing us to face challenges with courage and confidence. In a world that often encourages us to conform, authenticity can be a radical act. It is an act of rebellion against the forces that seek to limit our expression and diminish our worth. By embracing authenticity, we reclaim our power, our voice, and our right to live a life that is true to who we are. It is through authenticity that we connect more deeply with ourselves, others, and the world around us, and it is through authenticity that we experience a life of deeper meaning and fulfillment. Personal growth is the continual process of becoming the best version of oneself, an ongoing journey of learning, evolving, and striving to reach one's full potential. It is not a destination or a final state to be achieved, but a lifelong commitment to self-improvement and self-discovery. At its heart, personal growth is about breaking free from limitations, embracing change, and seeking greater understanding of who we are and who we wish to become. It requires effort, patience, and a willingness to face challenges, as it often involves stepping out of our comfort zones to explore new possibilities. The journey of personal growth begins with self-awareness. To grow, we must first understand ourselves, our strengths, weaknesses, beliefs, and desires. Self-awareness allows us to identify areas of our lives that may need attention or change. It provides clarity about what holds us back and what drives us forward. By taking an honest look at ourselves, we can uncover patterns of thought or behavior that no longer serve us and replace them with habits that align with our values and goals. This process of self-reflection is not always easy, as it often requires confronting uncomfortable truths about ourselves. However, it is through this introspection that we gain the insight necessary to initiate meaningful change. One of the most significant aspects of personal growth is the ability to adapt and embrace change. Change is an inevitable part of life, yet it is something many resist due to fear of the unknown or discomfort. Personal growth involves shifting our perspective on change, seeing it not as a threat but as an opportunity for transformation. Each change, whether big or small, presents us with a chance to learn something new, to develop resilience, and to grow stronger. Even the most challenging experiences can become valuable lessons that shape us into more capable and compassionate individuals. By viewing change as a catalyst for growth, we learn to navigate life's uncertainties with grace and confidence. Another cornerstone of personal growth is the cultivation of a growth mindset, the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and perseverance. A growth mindset encourages us to see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles, and to view failure as a stepping stone to success. When we approach life with a growth mindset, we become more willing to take risks, to try new things, and to persist in the face of difficulties. This mindset fosters resilience, creativity, and a sense of empowerment as we realize that our potential is not fixed, but is something we can actively shape through our choices and actions. Personal growth also involves setting goals and working toward them with intention and purpose. Goals give us direction and motivation, providing a sense of focus and clarity about what we wish to achieve. However, it is important to recognize that the journey toward a goal is often as valuable as the goal itself. The process of striving, learning, and overcoming challenges along the way is what truly fosters growth. Goals should be realistic yet ambitious, pushing us to stretch beyond our current limits without becoming overwhelming. By breaking goals into smaller, manageable steps, we can celebrate progress along the way and maintain momentum. An essential element of personal growth is the ability to learn from others and from life's experiences. Every person we encounter and every situation we face has the potential to teach us something. Whether through the wisdom of mentors, the insights of friends, or the lessons of failure, personal growth involves remaining open to learning in all its forms. It requires humility, the recognition that we do not have all the answers, and that there is always room for improvement. By approaching life with curiosity and a willingness to learn, we open ourselves to new perspectives and possibilities, enriching our understanding of the world and our place within it. Growth is often uncomfortable, as it requires us to face fears, let go of what no longer serves us, and challenge deeply held beliefs or habits. This discomfort is not a sign of failure, but a natural part of the process. It is in moments of struggle and uncertainty that we discover our inner strength and resilience. Personal growth asks us to trust in our ability to navigate these challenges and to recognize that the discomfort we feel is a sign that we are expanding our horizons and stepping into new territory. Another important aspect of personal growth is self-compassion. As we strive to improve ourselves, it is easy to become overly critical or to feel discouraged by setbacks. However, personal growth is not about perfection, it is about progress. It is about recognizing that growth is a process with ups and downs, and that mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow rather than evidence of failure. By treating ourselves with kindness and understanding, we create a supportive inner environment that fosters growth rather than hinders it. Personal growth also requires us to take responsibility for our lives. It is easy to blame circumstances, other people, or external factors for our struggles or shortcomings. However, personal growth involves acknowledging that we have the power to shape our own destiny. It asks us to take ownership of our choices, our actions, and our attitudes. This sense of responsibility is empowering, as it reminds us that we are not passive recipients of life's circumstances, but active participants in our own growth and development. Personal growth is about becoming more authentic, more aligned with our true selves. It is about stripping away the layers of pretense, fear and doubt that prevent us from living fully and freely. It is a journey of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and self-empowerment, a journey that enriches not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us. Through personal growth, we expand our capacity for love, compassion, and connection, creating a ripple effect that transforms not just ourselves, but the world we inhabit. In the grand tapestry of life, the pursuit of personal growth weaves threads of purpose, authenticity, and resilience. It is a journey that demands courage, self-awareness, and an unwavering commitment to becoming the best version of oneself. By embracing change, cultivating a growth mindset, and nurturing self-compassion, we uncover the limitless potential within us. This path is not without challenges, but it is through these challenges that we learn, evolve, and strengthen our character. Personal growth is not a destination, but a lifelong process of discovery, a gift we give ourselves that extends outward, enriching our relationships and the world around us. Each step forward, no matter how small, brings us closer to a life that is not just lived, but truly fulfilled.